Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is BNS Sports Talk with your co-host Bavuk and Neeraj. I'm Bavuk. We're
Hey,
two.
don't think you gonna introduce me?
Oh
All right,
shoot, my bad, bro.
all
We're
right.
two brown boys who are first-year college students from Detroit, Michigan, just looking to create a sports culture that's not subjective, but just purely factual with some of our own flavor added. This is our first ever episode, but don't worry, we're in this for the long run. I hope you guys join us for the ride, and don't worry, you'll enjoy it with some guaranteed everything sports and fantasy related benefits. And now it's time for BNN to cook.
So I'm Neeraj, and one of the first things we're gonna be doing is something we always talk about is mock drafts. We always love diving into like the top 10, seeing who's gonna do who with all the new quarterbacks. So today we're gonna be talking about the a mid-season 2021 mock draft, and we're gonna see what the top 10 would look like if that draft started today. In this mock, there's not gonna be any trades or anything because the draft order is constantly changing. So we're just gonna see, fits with teams and everything. So I'll let Bobak start out with the first pick.
Yes, sir. So today is actually November 8th. So it's a Sunday of week 9. So as of right now, the Jets have the first pick, standing at a record of 0-8. And it's pretty much common knowledge now that Trevor Lawrence is now going to be drafted to the Jets. And
Yeah.
with like Sam Darnold basically breaking down and not living up to his expectations as a first round pick, it's kind of hard for the Jets to pass up such a once in a generational talent such as Trevor
Yeah,
Lawrence.
I was gonna say like this organization overall is just not in the best state. And you got like a shiny quarterback from Clemson right there, Trevor Lawrence. You're just gonna take him. It doesn't matter if Sam Darnold, he got some more developing and everything to do, but like we're just gonna see the Jets take Trevor Lawrence and try to rebuild again and again. Hopefully Trevor Lawrence he actually accepts the fact that he's gonna be a New York Jet and he doesn't like force a trade or anything.
That's
I,
true.
I can't wait to see how that plays out. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
So this kind of gives me some backlash to what happened to Joe Burrow and how he was how he was drafted to the Bengals. And
yeah,
of course that wasn't what he wanted to, obviously, but he's producing.
he's
Uh,
doing well. Yeah,
yeah,
they gave him
exactly.
weapons. Yeah. And then another thing I want to bring up was going to happen to Sam Darnold. I still think he's like a great QB. I still think he's going to be a franchise QB for someone. And a good franchise, like some of the teams that come to mind are the 49ers if they want to move off Garoppolo, the Colts, they want to get younger, get rid of Philip Rivers. And probably the biggest one that everyone's been talking about, the Steelers, if they want to move on from Big Ben. A good team is going to give up a second round pick and pay almost nothing for a franchise QB. He's worth the top 3 pick that he was taken at.
Facts. Yeah. I honestly think that the Jets have actually degraded his value. And honestly, Darnold is someone who at USC was really one of the better quarterbacks in the draft. And honestly, now the Jets have made it seem like he's not really up
Yeah,
to the task, you know. And I
Adam
guess
Gase.
Lawrence doesn't. If Lawrence doesn't want to play for New York, he has one of two options. You know, he could either stay for Clemson for his senior year because he is just a junior, and which is something that a lot of people anticipate or advise him to if he doesn't want to, or he could like refuse to the Jets if they draft him, and something like what Eli Manning did when he was drafted to the Chargers back in 2003, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so he could do something like that. So I guess he does have options, but it's hard to imagine Trevor Lawrence not accepting the fact that he gets onto the Jets.
yeah. So with the second pick, we got the other New York team right now, and they're going to take this offensive tackle named Panay Sewell. Uh, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. I'm still learning a bit. But the thing I was considering was would they really take Justin Fields at number 2? And I thought they wouldn't, just because they got a new coach, Joe Judge, who was trying to build a culture there. And if he's going to trade a young QB in his second year and not give him any chance, I just don't think that's going to happen. And if the GM Dave Gettleman is still there, who drafted Daniel Jones and everything, he's not going to take the chance and take Justin Fields either. He's going to have to prove that he was worth that 6th overall pick because he knows he's not going to get any return for Daniel Jones or anything. So yeah, I'd have them taking the best offensive tackle. He's been considered one of the better offensive tackles in the past few years, even though like last year there was like I think about 4 or 5 in like the top 15.
Right.
So yeah, they just add another player on the offensive line who that still hasn't lived up to anything, even if they took Andrew Thomas.
Right.
So they just get more help with Daniel Jones and Saquon.
Exactly, yeah. So that's what I was going to talk about too. Just like how they Giants actually drafted Andrew Thomas last year in the 2020 draft. Um, and so is I think they're just planning on rebuilding that offensive line to help create that better blocking position for Saquon when he does come back next year. And fingers crossed, hopefully he doesn't injure anything and plays a full season. And so hopefully, if they are gonna move forward with Daniel Jones, he's gonna need a better offensive line to avoid those sacks.
Another thing I want to bring up, I don't think the Giants are going to be staying at this number 2 spot. I just think Joe Judge, he's a lot of players are believing him. I think they're going to move down the draft order and win some games. So we're going to see where they land, but like I still don't believe they're going to take another QB. So yeah,
All
let's
right,
move on to the
sweet.
third.
Yeah, so at number three, we think the Jaguars are actually gonna take Justin Fields. We strongly believe this because Gardner Minshew hasn't really shown the talent that people expected him to, and he doesn't have that warm passing that Justin Fields has, and which is going to separate Justin Fields from Gardner Minshew. And I think the Jaguars are ready to move on from the Minshew magic and hopefully get a better QB from Justin Fields. And even though Fields is just starting his second college season, his stock is still rising as a QB because of his passing accuracy and things like that. And Jaguars really do have skilled solid players, and I think Fields would be a great addition to the Jaguars organization by making them utilize the weapons at the wide receiver and passing positions they have.
Yeah, I think they're going to take Justin Fields. I think they're going to have a whole new front office and a whole new coach and everything. And they're going to win Justin Fields because he's doing like amazing this year. And right now he's in his third week of his college season. Last year he was already a Heisman runner-up, and he's playing even better this year. So he's just going to keep putting up numbers, and we're going to see what happens. But yeah, I think the Jaguars are going to take Justin Fields because if Trevor Lawrence wasn't there, he's considered one of the better QBs again. I know that happens every year. He's one of the better. There's another QB, but like Justin Fields has been like I think he would have been up there with Joe Burrow last year. So yeah, I think Jaguars are going to take a new QB this year.
Facts. And also, can we just take a moment to applaud James Robinson, the undrafted rookie who
Yeah,
just blew the league this year?
yeah,
And
another guy. Yeah,
even though it's been
and
like half the
yeah,
season so far, and I personally like him because he's on my fantasy team in multiple
unfortunately,
leagues, of course. But um, as a player, he's astonishing. Um, which is kind of surprising because he did go undrafted, but it's great to see such a inspiring story like develop, and now he may be a future first round pick in fantasy leagues next year. So
yeah. All right. So with the fourth pick, uh, the Dolphins, they have the Texans pick right now, and I think the Texans also they're going to win a few more games. I don't think they're going to be here at 4, but if they are, the Dolphins don't have any big glaring needs. Like their defense is looking elite, so I thought why not add a weapon for Tua, and they get Jamar Chase, who probably is the best wide receiver in college right now. He was probably one of the best even last year. Like yeah, Jared Judy and CeeDee Lamb, but he was still considered one of the best. And yeah, you get weapon for Tua, who, if anyone is talking about drafting, the Dolphins should think about drafting a QB. I think that needs to be thrown out the window. Tua's going to be good. He's literally played one game. You can't judge that one game for is this guy going to be a franchise QB. So yeah, why not get him some help? You get Jamar Chase. I know they have Devontae Parker and they have Preston Williams, but still, get a young QB who's on the same timeline as Tua, and we'll see what happens with that. Yeah.
facts. And I also think that financially, the Dolphins are kind of spread thin with their new deals, and Devontae Parker just got a large sum of money too. And I think it's beneficial for them to draft talent such as Jamar Chase because he would be under a rookie contract, which wouldn't take a huge portion of their cap as of right now. So
Yeah.
sweet. Moving on, we have the Falcons. And we believe that Micah Parsons is actually going to be drafted to the Falcons, and we think that the Falcons should stick to like the win for one more year now because of their money situation. And um like honestly, like the Falcons are doing the smarter thing by like looking at the short term and trying to fix their defense. And just having someone such as Micah Parsons in their lineup would be greatly beneficial to them.
Yeah, I mean, especially this year, I still think they have one of the better offenses in the league. They're still scoring like 30, 35 points a game. So I mean, like that defense is terrible. Like that's why they're not winning games. So, and with the money they have tied up on the offensive side, with you got Matt Ryan, you got Julio Jones, they're just not going to be able to draft a QB and essentially give him any surrounding support for the next few years, just because you have so much money tied up in these veterans. Well, even if you trade them, you're still going to have a lot of dead money on the cap. So yeah, I thought why not? I don't think they should take a QB this year like Trey Lance. I think they try to just take the best defense player on the board, which is Micah Parsons, who, I mean, he's not gonna, like turn that defense around or anything, but he's still just another piece for the future to add.
Exactly. And with the addition of Chase Young from last year, I think Ron
That's,
Rivera is trying to rebuild the entire defensive
wow,
team.
I
Yeah.
think you think about the wrong team there. We're talking about Atlanta.
Oh shoot, you got me. Yeah, but um yeah, what I was saying is that Parsons kind of like just kind of reminds me of Luke Kuechly years back, just like the hard tackling and like the well recovery after a hit, things like that kind of remind me of the big white man back in the day, he
All right,
was,
I don't
yeah.
know about all that, but Luke Kuechly was a really good linebacker. Let's just say that. So yeah. Let's
Yeah,
move on to another, unfortunate team right now, which are the Cowboys. And again, they had one of the better offenses in the league until, the unfortunate Dak Prescott injury. And to the people who are saying, oh, they should take a QB, I just don't think that's realistic. Dak Prescott's one of the better QBs in the league. We saw he was literally on the MVP campaign before he got hurt. So I thought, why not take another, again, the best defense player on the board? Because we've seen the Cowboys defense probably worst in the league. Yeah, maybe the Jets, but yeah, they're going to take cornerback from Alabama, Patrick Surtain, and he's the best cornerback in this class as of right now. He's been the number one cornerback prospect since he came from high school. So yeah, they just get to add another corner to replace Byron Jones, who, as we've seen, was really helpful to that defense, and we see what they look like without him. So yeah, they just need more help in the secondary.
exactly. And as of right now, the Cowboys secondary has been awful without Byron Jones. And honestly, Surtain's style is kind of like complementary with his former Alabama teammate Trayvon Diggs, right? And I think Jerry Jones needs to clear his head and hopefully like that show that Patrick Surtain is the perfect person for the Cowboys secondary. And in terms of Dak, what do you think, Nirj? What do you think is going to
I
happen to
mean,
him?
I think Dak is great. It's like the question is like, are you really going to sign a QB but like the rest of your team, like your defense is terrible. Like they have an offense, obviously that's good, but like you're not going to win a Super Bowl just because like your team is terrible. So like they might need to just blow it up. And it's like unfortunate Dak's good. He's going to go to a team that's going to pay him and they're going to be good. But like this Cowboys team has so many problems. So yeah, I don't think they'll take a QB, but like it's going to be tough this
Right.
offseason.
Honestly, think these problems are derived from Jerry Jones, to be honest. But yeah, you make a fair point because as of right now, you can see a clear example of the Buccaneers. Strong defense, well developed offense. Brady be picking these players off the waivers um like easy money. So
That was a good joke. Yeah, that was a really good joke.
You're funny. Um, but anyway, yeah. So the Bucks are really doing well this season. I honestly see them going to conference championships. Things like that. All right, let's move on to the next pick.
So next up, we got the Washington football team, who they hopefully change their name because that is just I don't know what they're doing calling themselves the Washington football team. Well, let's see. This year they benched Dwayne Haskins, who was their apparent quarterback of the future, but then they brought in Ron Rivera, who expected a lot more because like obviously he had Cam Newton, so he's gonna make sure his QB's doing good. And Dwayne Haskins just wasn't doing it, so he got benched all the way to the third string. So I think they're gonna take another quarterback. I think they need a young quarterback, not maybe signing Cam Newton in the offseason. So they're going to take Trey Lance, who many were saying is still, like Justin Fields is doing amazing, but this guy is still, he only played one game because I think North Dakota State, their whole season got canceled. But yeah, they're gonna take a young QB, develop him. Ron Rivera is gonna be the guy who takes him. And yeah, this is just a pick where they need a QB, and there's just one sitting there, so they took him.
Yeah, I agree. And just to go back on the naming thing, yeah, like how hard is it to come up with a name? Like I understand like um Redskins aren't the move, but it's not that hard to create a team.
No,
Um
if anyone ever listens to Pat McAfee, he thought of a name. They should call themselves the DC Football Club, and it should be called DCFC. I still think it could be a lit name. So yeah, there's a lot of options. I still don't know how they landed on Washington Football Team. It and they changed all the branding for 1 year. It's just yeah. So
yeah. I
they
don't
have a
think
good.
it fares well for them to have no mascot, bland name, just the whole morale, of the team. Imagine getting called yourself like the Washington football team, you know?
Yeah,
There's no sort of hype to it, and it's like a major factor in players.
yeah.
And then going back to Trey Lance, QB at North Dakota State. Another actual team that I thought would be interested is the Carolina Panthers. They're sitting at 3-5 right now, and they actually um are questioning whether Teddy Bridgewater is their franchise
Long term
QB.
answer. I
Yeah,
think he's playing well. It's just like, is he really gonna be your guy going forward? Like, I know they paid him for, I think, 3 years, probably.
yeah, but I
Three,
think he just has a limited ceiling. Like there's only so
yeah,
much Bridgewater can do.
and you can't. That's the one position you can't settle at. Like, you see,
Exactly.
Nick Foles isn't taking the Bears anywhere. Like, they need a young QB who's gonna like do something for him. So yeah,
Right. Exactly. And these older QBs like Foles and like these veterans, they aren't at the level of like Rodgers, Brady. These guys have been playing the game for years now, and
they
they've
aren't getting
seen
any better.
exactly. But thing is that they're at a level where they don't need to get better because they've already accomplished so much, and they've already created a name for themselves in which you know that it's like too much value is lost if you let them go.
And
So
I think they can easily take a QB, have Bridgewater play for a year, redshirt the QB, and then you got Trey Lance in his second year, who I think would be well.
facts.
So, okay. Let's move on to the eighth pick. And the Chargers. The Chargers, I know they aren't winning a lot of games, but like they have like their franchise QB who people are saying could win the rookie of the year over Joe Burrow. And they got weapons. They don't have any glaring needs. Their defense, they have a lot of players. I don't know why they aren't playing that well. They just happen to choke some games at like the Broncos game. They happen to give up a late touchdown. So I just had them taking Gregory Rousseau from Miami, and Melvin Ingram was apparently on the trade block in the beginning of the year. So maybe he probably wasn't going to get traded, but like the fact that he's even considered that means like they could move him. So I thought, why not just take a defensive end? You get another young one near Joey Bosa. Again, they don't have any glaring need. This is a team who like if they are slated at 8, I think they trade down. They get more picks and they can just load up. So yeah.
Yep, great analysis, Neeraj. Yeah, in terms of Russell, in terms of Russell, even though the ACC and the Miami Hurricanes are playing, Russo actually opted out this season, and but I don't really think that his stock is really declining because he
Yeah.
did post a shit ton of sacks and a shit ton of tackles.
We'll see. We'll see at the combine if he's hopefully still, got the athleticism and everything that he showed his prior years. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Um. Yep. Sweet. So next pick, we got the Patriots, and Jalen Waddle seems like the perfect addition for the Patriots, and it really begs the question if the Patriots really want to take a wide receiver in the top 10. They are sitting at the ninth pick as of right now in our analysis. But they may also look into taking Kyle Pitts as well, because they haven't had that tight end aspect, which was so integral in the Super Bowl era back in the day when Patriots were dominating with Gronk and Brady, having that connection. But then again, Brady isn't at the Patriots, and I'm not sure if Belichick really wants to rekindle some sort of tight end QB connection that benefited him so much.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if the Patriots are there, they're not unless they're taking a QB somehow, they're going to trade out. Like it just the Patriots are literally if they don't trade out, something's wrong. Like that's just and I mean there isn't a QB. I mean Zach Wilson. I mean he's rising up the boards. We'll see if he's considered a top 10 prospect when the draft comes around. But like yeah, I just they had him taking Jalen Waddle just because like they need help on the outside. Like I know they drafted N'Keal Harry, who as of right now they players that went after him include DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. Like it just didn't look the best. So they're probably going to trade down. But yeah, right now they can just take a speedster, Jalen Waddle, who was an amazing punt returner from Alabama.
Right. So what do you think about his ending fractured ankle?
I hope he can come back. But like we've seen players like Marquise Brown, he still has the speed, and he I forgot what injury happened to him, but like he didn't play. I'm pretty sure like most of the season before he got drafted either. So I think he'll be able to come back. Hopefully he can. If maybe he's now considered a top 10 prospect when the draft comes around, like maybe sort of like the low like 18, 19, but we'll see.
All right, sweet. Yeah. I hope the best for Jalen Waddle. Um, do you want to quickly touch on Cam and his progress so far with the Patriots?
This is complicated because like I think everyone's gonna root for Cam because like he's really inspirational and he looked good and then COVID who
Mm-hmm.
every single person hit nothing is positive come
Right.
from COVID so he unfortunately got COVID and then after that I'm pretty sure he's thrown has he thrown a touchdown like I think he's rushed for touchdowns
He's
but I don't think
rushed one, yeah, but he hasn't thrown one yet.
he's thrown a lot of interceptions he got benched for
Yeah.
so
I had firsthand experience of that with him on my
unfortunately
lineup that week
yeah.
against you, Neeraj.
Unfortunately, yeah, Bob was projected to beat me, and then Cam somehow went negative. He couldn't even stay positive. He couldn't even get 0 points. He had to go negative.
Exactly. Just like his COVID test, he keep be getting.
But we'll see. I just don't think. I think he's. Let's say he does perform, and I don't think the Patriots are going to give him a contract. Like I don't think they're going to say, okay, we need to spend a 2-year, 3-year deal on Cam,
Exactly.
upward of. So I don't think he's going to get the contract from the Patriots. Maybe like the Washington football team. Maybe he tries to rekindle with Ron Rivera, but like. Yeah, I think the Patriots are either going to stick to. Man, how do I forget his name? Is there a young QB? What's their young QB's name again? They have Brian Hoyer and they have what's his
Oh,
name?
right.
I
Or
keep forgetting.
Stidham.
Yeah, they have Stidham. Franchise QB right there.
Right.
But yeah, I think there's they could take Zach Wilson who is balling out right now. At
Right.
where's he at? Let me check. Where's Zach Wilson at? I've heard of him because I watched his stats. I forgot what team he plays for. Yeah, BYU. Yeah, so we'll see.
All right, sweet.
The Vikings.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
think the
really
Vikings.
thought,
Yeah, keep going.
yeah, and I really thought that, when Cam really showed off against Seattle a couple weeks back,
Yeah.
you know, I really
Mhm.
thought old Cam was back. But
Yeah, I think he was putting up like the numbers that he did.
in his MVP season a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was on track, but
Yeah,
it'd be like
but
that.
exactly.
So, okay, the Vikings. Now, I think this is a team that if they go higher than 10, like if they're picking around like 6 or 7, I think they take a QB. Like this team is just I don't know what they're doing. Like I don't they really had a top 10 defense, I think a year ago or two. Yeah, they had a top 10 defense like a year ago. And then they lost their top three cornerbacks to free agency. And this team is just not good. Kirk Cousins is not good. They somehow gave him an extension. I don't know why, but they gave him an extension after last year. At least they have a promising receiver. So yeah, I just had them taking a cornerback, Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech. Like I know they took a cornerback last year, but their secondary is again one of the league's worst. If you're looking at fantasy, you're trying to pick a receiver who's playing the Vikings because it's that bad. They somehow beat the Packers though, which I don't know how they beat the Packers, but they beat the Packers because Dalvin Cook. But yeah, this team is again like the Cowboys, like the Falcons. They have a lot of money tied up. They have just a questionable front office. So yeah, right now they just take a cornerback. They need help in the secondary. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the Vikings. There's something else, man. Honestly, like their wins, I honestly think they're flukes, to be honest, because when you have a one-man team with Dalvin Cook, with Kirk Cousins literally doing nothing
Yeah,
productive on that field, I
he threw
honestly
14
pray,
passes. He threw
yeah,
4.
exactly. So I honestly pray that Trey Lance may drop to the
Or
Vikings.
Vikings trade up, or like they at least go up in the draft order somehow. But yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, if somehow they can land Trey Lance or another top QB, I think it's beneficial to move on from
and
Kirk
another
Cousins.
thing about Kirk Cousins, he went to Michigan State, and we're from Michigan. We do not claim Kirk Cousins. He is terrible. We're Lions fans, but
Yeah.
still, this is yeah, this is a weird. They gave him an extension. I still can't believe that. Like, and one thing I want to point out: their coach is not the problem. Mike
Yeah,
Zimmerman.
Zimmerman is good.
I don't know how some of the reason the fact that they beat the Packers last week shows that he's still a good coach because like you beat I don't know how they beat the Packers like
Yeah, and they literally put up over 30 points against the 49ers. And even though they are banged up, the 49ers with Mo Salah and Kyle Shanahan, they do
yeah.
have a solid, some
So it's
sort of
like
coaching staff.
maybe the Packers just had an off week. Like Aaron Rodgers was talking about it on the Pat McAfee show, which again, if you're watching our show, you should also watch Pat
Nears,
McAfee show.
quit publicizing another podcast show.
Good show. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers talking on there, and he was saying like, I don't know what happened. I thought we put up our points. Him and Devontae Adams connected for how many touchdowns? So yeah, maybe it was just the Packers, but the Vikings are still questionable. So
Right.
we'll see. Hopefully, again, maybe like the Falcons, they just don't take a QB because like they have so much money tied up in veterans that are not good anymore. So we'll see.
Right.
So yeah, that's
Um
the top 10.
yeah, that's our top 10 mid-season draft. Hope you guys
Things will
liked it.
change. Yeah,
Well, now we're gonna move on to
a quick little like matchups to watch for week 10. Right now week 9 is going on as we speak. Like I'm literally have ESPN open on my phone while we're recording this. But let's look forward to week 10. There's not as many games as you'd think. Like this week has some like really good games. You have the Seahawks and Bills, who is actually not looking that good, but like I thought they'd be a good game. And then at night we have the Saints and Buccaneers rematch with Antonio Brown making his debut. But yeah, week 10, just a few matchups you want to look at. Thursday night, you got Colts and Titans, who interdivisional matchup. Both looking solid. We'll see if the Colts can do anything about Derrick Henry. And then you have the Seahawks and Rams. The Rams were looking good in the beginning, but they dropped off against the Dolphins. And hopefully they can recover. We'll see if they can do anything against the Seahawks, who are the best team in the NFC. Maybe the Buccaneers. They're the best record in the NFC, at least. And then lastly, you have the Bills and Cardinals, two high-powered offenses. I think Kyler Murray is, yeah, he's amazing. DeAndre Hopkins is doing well. So we'll see.
right. And just touching on the Bills, Josh Allen was playing extremely well. Well, he was in the MVP race for quite a bit of time,
Yeah.
but he did not produce the way that he did against better teams, with better defenses.
The Titans game kind of something happened that night. It was a Tuesday night game, which
Right.
is fair. Yeah,
Right.
the game happened, and then he's dropped off since then.
Exactly.
Because like he was on my fantasy team. I had Russell Wilson too, because the league I'm in, we have some real bozos in it. We draft Cam Newton. Yeah, unfortunately, he's no longer a valuable piece that I can trade for anything. But yeah, I hope he rekindles because like they have that division. Like if they are even decent, they have the division on lock right now. So we'll see. I think
Right.
that wraps it up for today.
Yep. And look ahead for next week's episode.
NBA probably.
Yeah, most likely, yeah. But don't worry, we'll still be giving you some of our fantasy insights, and we may be specifically targeting some specific players you should look out to. And I know this is crunch time for you guys. Um, with playoffs right around the corner, we'll try to be as helpful as we can. And if you guys have any questions or have any start or sit type questions, please, please, please just send us a message and
We'll figure out a way to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, thank you guys so much. We're here for the long run. Don't worry. And
Sorry.
thank you for tuning in. Peace.
Peace out. Done.